Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. My name is Donita and this is Editor.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome. And today we have a wonderful, beautiful guest, and her name is Rachel Blasco. Welcome, Rachel. And Rachel has been in the art and creative design space for her entire career. After experiencing a radical shift in her own physical and mental health, she has spent the past 6 years as an integrative wellness coach. Far beyond nutrition, movement, and meditation, Rachel assists others on their journey to better well being with a strong emphasis on creativity, mindfulness, and holistic health practices. Wonderful. Welcome, Rachel. So wonderful to have you here today.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that.
And will you please share and tell us a little bit about you, like your journey? You know,
Sure.
what has your healing journey been all about?
Yeah. Well, my healing journey, thank you for asking that. And first of all, thank you for even offering to have me come here. I really appreciate it and I'm honored. And I love what you ladies are doing with your platform and really elevating voices that are creating a more holistic look at the experiences that people are having right now at this time. So thank you for that. Um, my healing journey. So it started early. Um, when I was a child, I was in a car accident with my father, where he passed away. And both my brother and I were in the car when that happened. So at 5 years old, I learned, and I learned very quickly, that planet Earth is going to be a trip. Um, but I didn't really identify or understand what that healing aspect of all of that pain and trauma was going to look like until well into my late 20s, right around my Saturn return, is I think when things started to shift into taking a little bit more responsibility for what that, what that was going to actually look like for me. I had to work through a lot of anger. I was angry at my creator for a long time. Um, Life wasn't fair. Woe is me, a lot of victim mentality. It didn't help that in my teenage years, I was groomed by a sexual predator and had some bad experiences over several years with that. So, on top of this pain and fear of abandonment, I had to deal with um, really identifying what the empowered version of me was going to look like. And that took a while. Um, because it kind of progressed slowly for me until a point where things became very intense and everything started to happen quite rapidly. And that was actually closer into my 30s. I had a few experiences with psychedelics. I had some experiences with some very powerful healers as well, and fell into more of the mindfulness space where I was able to really take a lot more responsibility for my actions and how and what my view of the world was going to be. And that was really where the miracle happened, was the shift in perspective for me of, okay, yes, all of these things happened. And yes, this world is filled with a lot of contrast, but I have the opportunity then to make something out of that and allow that to be almost like the soil that was going to help propel, whatever seeds I was sowing then up to create something different for myself. So a lot of my journey really has been transmuting suffering into more joy, which is, I would say, my natural inclination is toward light and toward joy. But I had to reconcile a lot of the shadow and a lot of the kind of darkness that I've experienced. And that was a mental health journey more than anything. That was difficult for me. Years of depression, years of anxiety. feeling worthless, feeling not good enough. You know, that's the last place you want to be. And yet, as somebody who is naturally a creative as well, it's also kind of like the best case scenario, right? Is you have all of this, you have all of these, all of these emotions and all of this passion to work with. And that's what I did. I would say it probably took me a solid 25 years, of work to really unpack the trauma, and went through a lot of physical pain as well. I had joint pain for a really long time, stomach problems. I was 30 pounds overweight, just a lot of nervous energy. And that took me to a lot of different places. And I'm grateful for that because it's allowed me to really have a lot more compassion for people. And I think that that's ultimately what I offer in my coaching practice is I don't have all the answers. I have a lot of tools, but I certainly don't have all the answers. And I think the best thing that I can do for my clients, and also friends and acquaintances, is just to hold space for them, right? Is to mirror back to them what I see in them. And that in and of itself, I think, can help improve someone's self-esteem to look at things a little bit differently. So yeah, my healing journey has been interesting.
Beautiful.
So you send us some questions. We ask you about sending us some questions so we can ask you. And the first question was, how did you get there? So that was, this is the story. And the second part of the first question was, what has your healing journey been all about?
Okay, so how did I get here? I think I'm grateful to have been given, and I think this was God given, was just the ability to be very curious. I've always been very curious. My mind never stops, so that's a good thing, and that can also be a difficult thing or a challenge. And I think how I got here was remaining curious. I think that is the best thing that someone can do that's looking to improve themselves in some way, is just remain curious, stay open. When we close ourselves off or when we become too rigid, it really hinders our ability to see things differently. And one of the best mantras that I've had over the years has been, allow me to see things clearly. And on top of that, I am willing to see things differently. And I think that that's what's worked really well for me. Additionally, what has my healing journey been all about? I think it has been about understanding that aligned action is really the thing that I've had to cultivate and work on. Yes, self-empowerment, yes, self-worth, but it's really been about getting out of my head and getting more into my body, because the relationship that I had with my body is, get out of your body because that's where you're experiencing all the pain. Whether that was physical pain or whether that was emotional pain, it was like, just get me out of here, right? It was this, constant fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, it's very difficult to create something because you are in survival mode. So I would say that accepting that it is my responsibility in this relationship with Creator is that if we are co-creating, if that's part of your belief system, is if you believe that we are co-creating with something bigger than us, which is what my belief system is, then I take that responsibility of the aligned action. That's why I'm here. And when you are disempowered at an early age, that's the thing that you need to heal, is accepting that, you might not necessarily get it right, or you might have experienced pain in the past, but that past doesn't predicate the future. So yeah, that's what I think my healing journey has really been all about.
Thank you. That's beautiful. I love listening to you sharing your story and your heart with us. And I'm sure throughout your 25 years of walking this path of healing and embracing yourself, right? What inspired you? What motivated you? Was it the curiosity, or what was the that voice inside of you that said, "Keep going, don't give up, keep following that light compass"?
In your toughest time
Yeah,
in your life?
that's a great question. I think, well, okay, one of my spiritual mentors, I have two in particular that really resonated with me early on. One was Michael Beckwith, who started Agape congregation over in California. His life journey has been interesting. But he said something that stuck with me, and it hit me immediately when he said it. And he said, "Pain pushes you until inspiration pulls you." And I think for me, it was pain was pushing me. I wasn't going to last very long if I stayed in pain, meaning I wasn't going to last very long on this planet. I've been and in some really dark moments in my life where I didn't want to be here anymore. And it makes me emotional to think about now, because this life is such a gift. And at the same time, I think that the motivation was, well, I'm not going to make the choice not to be here because I had too much of a relationship with, perfect example is just my mom. I love my mom. I've had some incredible relationships in my life, with friendships and romantic partners. And I think it came down to, I just felt too much love to give up on myself. And again, I'm very grateful for that. I think that there are a lot of people on this planet that aren't able to perceive all of the love in their life, and that is to their detriment. And it is easier to give up when you feel like there is nothing to be here for. So yeah, I would say that the pain was pushing me until the inspiration kicked in. And cultivating a regular practice of gratitude was also really helpful for me. And what I mean by that was I started to see my life through the lens of gratitude. So even if I was, on the surface, or if you were to look at the challenges in my life, and say, oh, well, there were all these things that were stacked against me. What complete BS. Because I live in the United States, and for all intents and purposes, I have an incredibly blessed life, from the roof over my head to the food in my belly to et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? So I just started to see the world through the lens of all of the things that I was really, really happy to have, and was really thankful for. And that was like, it was almost like, and I've said this before, gratitude is like the life lubricant. It makes everything a lot easier. It makes everything flow a lot more smoothly if you are able to perceive things through the lens of gratitude. And I think that that's what helped me the most.
And that's, yeah, absolutely, gratitude. And what I'm hearing also from you, you're practicing presence, because what observing the good around you, the
Mhm.
people, the love, the positive. So you're focusing on the good within and around you. So you are cultivating gratitude while being present.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So that's beautiful. I think we all should do that more. Stay present in the now, in the moment. That's when life happens.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
come
I mean,
to
that's where you can, I'm sorry to interrupt.
no, no, go.
Um, that's where you are able to receive the miracle,
Yeah.
is in the present. If you are in the past, or if you are, languishing over the future, you're not able to receive it. And presence practice and mindfulness practice really gave me the space to be able to receive that miracle. Um, And part of that for me was just learning what I call the art of the pause, which is giving yourself the opportunity to think before you respond, because your feelings aren't facts. Your feelings oftentimes are, you being triggered by something, right? So if the trigger is there, that means that it's something to observe, but it doesn't necessarily mean react or respond in that moment. And that was one of the things for me that I think, and even now, I have to remain diligent in my art of the pause, versus reacting or responding in a way that's probably not serving me, and it's probably not serving the situation. Yeah, that's been a reminder to stay present.
So you already touched up a little bit about mindfulness. So would you tell us more about what does mindfulness means to you?
What does mindfulness mean to me? Mindfulness to me means perceiving from a lens of non-judgment. And so if I can rewind a little bit, the environment that I was in when I was an adolescent was, there was a lot of love, but there was also a lot of judgment, a lot of judgment. And that was so damaging to me as a feeler and as a sensitive, because how I received that was, I am going to be judged harshly and critically for every single thing that I do. So unless you're perfect, you're putting yourself in the path of scrutiny, which just wasn't going to do for me. I did not want to feel like I, was going to be under anybody's lens of judgment. And mindfulness ultimately for me is really just seeing things without attaching an outcome or attaching an expectation to them. That's really helped me a lot in my relationships as well, where I'm mindful of how an interaction can be perceived either positively or negatively. And the more mindful I am of my own habits and behaviors, the more it gives me the opportunity, again, with that kind of space between, with that pause in between, it gives me the opportunity to allow the truth to unfold, which is 9.5 times out of 10, I am perceiving something a lot more, as a lot more of an attack than what it actually is. And that, I think, is the old habit or pattern of being the victim. Is when you are the victim, or when you have experienced a lot of pain, it's easy to put that like facade of, or that shell of like, I need to protect myself all the time, or this person is out to get me, or I'm going to be taken advantage of here or there. So again, that mindfulness has really helped, combat that, or at least subdue that for me. But ultimately, I just think that mindfulness is about, practicing more observation than judgment.
Would you say that being mindful, because that's important and it's a very important, it's a big presence in your life, right? Being mindful,
Yeah.
Has been assisting you in accepting life and everyone around you as they are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think,
And yourself, to begin with yourself, accepting yourself as you are
yeah.
without pushing and
Yeah, the more I loved myself, the more capacity I had to love other people. And it was really important for me to feel like I was loving other people the way that I have the capacity to, because I give great love. I give great love. So if I'm in a place where I'm, you know, feeling like I need to protect myself, the last thing I'm doing is loving. Um, and yeah, it did give me, I think it's just maturity too. You know, it's it's the progression of getting out of self-focus and into others' focus in the best possible way, which is interdependence versus a codependence, where your feelings are attached to how someone else is receiving and perceiving the world. Um, yeah. So I would say that that has definitely been helpful.
That's yeah, thank you for that. And you mentioned, you mentioned already, but it's like tools that you along your path of healing that you had a lot of,
Tools, mentors. You
we all,
mentioned
yeah,
one already. Yes.
yes, like we all have our tools. So would you share some of your magic tools that have helped you over the years to be here now as you are, radiant and, on your healing path, but radiant and like over the hump in sort of like the.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the fun stuff. Yeah. Well, I will say that intuitives and people that were able to help me relax and connect with my higher self, like what you ladies are here to serve on this planet, which I'm so grateful for. So healers have helped me open up to that. Um, Other practices for me have been to cultivate that on my own as well, and my own intuition, which is wildly accurate if I allow it to come through. Um, Inner child work has been number one. So I would say anybody who is curious about, I mean, again, get curious. Anybody who is curious about what it would feel like to be a little bit more integrated, working with your inner child is immensely helpful. It can also be immensely jarring and moving. So do it with a playful intent, and or have a licensed mental health counselor help facilitate that with you. There's some great practices. Perfect example, and one little quick practice that somebody could try is to ask your inner child a question. So use your dominant hand to write out a question, and then use your non-dominant hand to answer it. And if you're able to pause long enough before you allow the answer to come out with your non-dominant hand, it essentially can be as close as possible to you actually receiving something from, what that little 5-year-old or that little, 6-year-old has to say to you. So that is a powerful practice, and that's something that was helpful for me. Journaling has been the most consistent healing practice for me that progressed over time and is now a regular part of my everyday. So to start, if somebody wanted to explore that, I would say read the book, what is it called? By Julia Cameron. It's The Morning Pages. And let me look it up really quick. But essentially what the Morning Pages is you sit and you write for 3 pages worth of content, whether that takes you 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, but do that first thing in the morning. It's called The Artist's Way. That's the name of the book by Julia Cameron. And what that does is it allows you to just do kind of a mind dump in the morning, to then start moving forward with your day with a little bit more clarity and a little bit more space. Because oftentimes what will happen is they wake up and they get into this tizzy again. Every day it's like Groundhog Day, where you're like, you're going through the same motions over and over again, that it's a little insane to think that you're going to have a different result at the end. So those 2 practices have been helpful. Another great one is to just sit and be present. So you can call that meditation, you can call that prayer. Start with 5 minutes a day. If you can just sit and breathe, focus on your breath. And what that means, when someone says focus on your breath, all that means is think about the tip of your nose and think about the inhale and the exhale. It doesn't have to be complicated. What I usually suggest to people right off the bat is to practice a 4-7-8 breath, which means an inhale of 4 seconds, then you hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then you exhale slowly for 8 seconds, and try to do that just 3 times. And what you're doing with that is you're actually starting to get into your parasympathetic nervous system. Your breath is the only thing that can go automatically or that you can control. It's one or the other, but either way, it's going to happen. So that can essentially be our connection to, kind of the other world or the other aspect of our physical living being. That's been helpful. Reading's been really helpful. Books for me in terms of like what kind of started it, the Emerald Tablet was the book for me that I think opened up my eyes to, oh my gosh, there is this whole other world to perceive. And the Emerald Tablet is really about like the law of cause and effect, and the law of rhythm, the law of gender, the law of let's see, what is it called? I think there's 7 total. So just reading, getting curious. I did a lot of work around A Course in Miracles too, which was helpful. That reframed a lot of things for me. And movement. I can't say enough about how movement has changed my life. If you really want to go like deep into movement, I would say find a somatic instructor. And somatics are basically the study of kind of where your body holds certain energies, because our body is this carbon-based memory system and our body never forgets. There's a really powerful book by Bessel van der Kolk, I think his name is, which is The Body Keeps Score. And that's really all about how our traumas live inside our body until we move them out. So yes, so I would say breathing and meditation exercise, a journaling exercise, and then some form of movement. So whether that looks like strength training or somatics movement, yoga. Yoga is another great introduction into being a little bit more mindful of what's going on in your body. And then also really just getting more comfortable being who you are, sitting in the imperfection of who you are and where you're at. Because where you're at, the more you're able to be yourself, the more you're going to attract what is for you, because what is for you will not pass you by. So whether that is people or a relationship or an opportunity, the universe always meets us where we're at and provides us with exactly what we need. So that I think also is part of the mindfulness practice too, just being present. That's it.
Well, thank you. That is, amen to that.
Amen to that is right.
Amen to that.
Actually, very helpful and very simple tools.
Yep.
So as we kind of finish for today, so first of all, thank you so very much for your wisdom and amazing time and amazing information. And there's so much helpful information for the audience, I'm sure. And all the books that you mentioned, we're going to add them below, in the description.
Oh, it's so many more than that.
So as we finish for today, is there like a sentence or like an empowering message for our audience in like a short, and also if you could share a bit more about what do you offer, how people can find you if they would like to connect with you or schedule some one-on-one time with you. And of course, all the information you're saying, we're going to add it into the description below. So don't rush to get a pen and a paper right now. Just enjoy
Enjoy.
Enjoy.
Still enjoying.
Well, thank you again, because this has been wonderful. I'm really grateful, and I'm so lit up just talking to the two of you. So thank you. One bit of advice, honestly, would be to get curious, because no one has the answers that you're seeking. They might have insight, but they don't have your answers. So remain curious. And if you're not curious, get curious. Ask questions. Sit with things. And that's where I'll leave it. Get curious. How do I help people? Really, I would say I help create shifts by inspiring people to feel deeper and think more openly. Because seeing life from a new perspective is ultimately what it's all about. If you are in suffering and if you are looking to experience more joy, I like to help facilitate that through shifts in nutrition, movement, and mindfulness. If anyone needs additional support, I work in conjunction with a registered dietitian, nutritionist, and a certified personal trainer, who is my life partner. So, we help co-facilitate that, especially if you need very specific help. So really my main goal is to help someone reestablish and strengthen their relationship with their authentic selves, because that's what we're here for. We've all chosen to be on the planet at this very pivotal time. This planet has seen a lot, but it has not seen the likes of this before. This is a new, it's not a new
Brand
revolution.
new.
Yes, yeah, it's brand new. It's not a new revolution, but it's a new evolution. And we come hell or high water or divine grace, which is what I am affirming every day, we are going somewhere else. So, if we are looking to do that with the most intention possible, we really just have to be very authentic to who we are. And I do that. I help facilitate that through a number of modalities, which really affects, all aspects of the life wheel, including your physical, your nutritional, emotional, and quality of your sleep too, is another thing that I like to work through with people, because like we're here in winter right now, right? Rest is important. Look at the cycles that we go through every year. It's very important for us to have quality rest. So I really just help people move from limited perspective to kind of a limitless potential.
Well said.
Pressure.
Excellent.
Well said. That should be your logo or something, like a big banner behind you.
Yeah, I'll have to work on that.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you so much.
Your
And
life
if anybody
story.
wants to, anyone wants to reach out, they can find me on Recalibrated for Joy. On Instagram, it's recalibrated.for.joy, or recalibratedforjoy.com, which is my website. They can reach out to me there. And I'm available even just to have a conversation. That's what I'm here for. So.
Talking about the conversation, that's why I want to share with the audience that I hope you're really enjoying this and enjoyed listening to this conversation today with Rachel. And I just want to say that there's more to come in the near future. So we'll have you back, Rachel, to have a deeper conversation about some interesting topics and interesting, because I think it's very, very, as you were talking, I've got these light bulbs in my head, boom, 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 the things that we can talk, and it's just the
Yes.
yumminess. So
And it's a perfect time for
perfect timing for that. As Pluto enters Aquarius, yummy time.
Saddle up.
Yes. So thank you so very much for
Thank you,
being
ladies.
here. Much love and many
you.
blessings. And thank you for watching. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it. And till next time. Bye for now.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.